This video is mostly going to be for Bungie, but feel free to join in the conversation with me. I started a free-to-play account to get a feel for what it's like to be a new player, although that's going to be hard since I am a player who has put over 1,000 hours into this game, and I also over 1,000 into Destiny 1, but I wanted to see what it was like because I have had a couple friends get into Destiny through New Light, and to me it kind of felt like the burden was on me, the friend, to help them figure out how to play the game. And it was difficult in some areas because they didn't know how to read the UI or anything, and the game wasn't really showing them how to do that very well. And I would try to tell them, hey, go over here to look at this, and they just couldn't figure out what I was necessarily talking about. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna make a free-to-play account. I'm gonna make a guide figure this whole thing out. But I do have a separate video. It is a guide. It is, if you're looking for that, I do have that in a different video. First of all, the instructions that pop up from the bottom of the screen and have a wall of text are pretty annoying. Like, I don't feel like that's the way to present the information. Also, they seem to be accidentally skippable, and I've actually tried to read a couple of them sometimes, and the notification isn't even there long enough for me to read them a lot of the time. I feel like in modes like Gambit, a player's first time in the activity should include a more cinematic tutorial, something that shows where the bank is on that map, shows motes falling out of enemies so they know what they look like. An animation that shows the player how to bank the motes would be useful. It could definitely use showing the summoning of the primeval, especially in Gambit Prime, the fact that you have these damage phases and that you need to kill these primeval envoys and that the damage levels stack up. And that's another thing. I feel like there needs to be something that shows the player what the text is on the side of their screen, the buffs and debuffs, so that they can understand that, how they just to read the UI better. Like, there could definitely be something that shows them that better. Exotic quests could clearly start out by showing you what exotic weapon you're working for, because currently it just shows us step by step, like, oh, here's the little alkane dust. We'll see. Like, nobody's gonna look at that and be like, I have to do this for alkane dust. I don't care. Dismantle. The number one thing I should have said first is that nothing shows the player how to get the campaigns. Like, I feel like that should be the first thing. I feel like you should land in the tower and it should be like, hey, go visit Amanda Holiday to pick up the campaign missions to get you started. If you want, and then, like, they don't have to do it, obviously. They can start playing Strikes and Crucible with their friends if they want, but, like, if they want to play some content by themselves, like, they should probably play those, but nothing tells them to go there. Another thing about the UI is nothing tells the player how to read their radar. It doesn't tell them about that little white dot and say, hey, just so you know, if you ever can't figure out what to do this. Or if you ever can't figure out what to do, press tab, pull out your ghost, and it'll show a little thing on your heads-up display of the direction and go. Nothing shows you those things. Like, or if they do, like, I didn't notice them. They were like, they're gone like that. Another issue I came up with is that there are too many quests that you can't abandon. And there's just, in general, too many quests that fill up your bounty count. Like, you need to be able to do bounties, especially as a new player. You need to do as many as you can to get some glimmer, some legendary shards, some planetary materials. But if you have, you know, seasons upon seasons of pinnacle weapon bounties, all these different planets want you to do different things to. It's too many things, especially with there being a cap on how many you can have it at one time. And these days, I feel like there's a lot of people that might be unwilling or not quick enough to read the tiny tips that show up at the bottom of the screen in this game. I feel like this game really could benefit from a cinematic little video right after the very first intro mission and the little story thing that they give you at the beginning. It could really benefit from a little video that explains your power level, how it's calculated, and show you an example of navigating the menu. Not like, oh, look, do this really quick. Because some people are going to do those things because it's showing them, but they're not going to read why or what it is, and that's not beneficial. Once again, I just want to state that these, of course, are just opinions. I could be wrong about some of these things, like maybe players are having a great experience and I'm wrong. But these are just some things that I noticed that I was like, dang, if I didn't know anything about Destiny right now, this would have been too hard for me. And maybe not too hard, but just annoying. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I went this long without knowing blah 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 or whatever it is. Okay, so this next thing is, I mean, I don't know, some people aren't going to like it, but I know that Destiny is trying to be immersive with its loading screens, with how our ships are flying into the planets, these different destinations. But being a free game, it could really benefit from having tips that are displayed in the corners of it. Maybe, like, I'm not talking about we need loading screens, but I mean in the fake loading screens that we have, just a little bit of some text at the top or the bottom, somewhere in the corners for new players would be great. And then having the option to turn that setting off for veteran players or people who eventually get used to it, or like, I don't want any of those tips, they can turn them off. But I feel like that would be helpful for a free-to-play game. Another thing that is very critical, I think, is that I think the game needs to stress the artifact. Like, it needs to help you get to your artifact. When I was playing my free-to-play account, I had to get up to 850 power before I could do the missions that were doing it, but I had to figure that all out on my own. Nothing was really helping me to know, hey, you don't have an artifact. You should try to get it. That should be a priority so you can level up. Nothing was telling me about that. This last part was a little interesting. This isn't necessarily something that I specifically noticed in New Light, but I feel like would definitely help New Light and help new players. This is just something I've noticed in general in Destiny. And I feel like it would be cool if during strikes and missions and some of the PvE activities in this game, if when a non-player character, somebody in the story or mission is talking to you over comms, they're not maybe there with you, but they're talking to you over, I don't know, however they communicate, not cell phones, but if it would show even just a little picture or a little icon of that character's face, so that people know who's talking, especially new players. New players don't know who Commander Zavala is, or some of these other characters. They're not familiar with it, and I don't want them to have to rely on, oh, I remember this guy's voice, I know exactly who this guy is, I feel like there's a little picture next to it at the bottom. That would be great. Now, I'm not asking for a video or anything, or animations of having to animate the characters actually speaking these words, but just, just a little icon. Just a little icon. I don't think that's crazy to ask. For me personally, I feel like too often I naturally end up not paying attention to the words that they're saying during missions because I have aliens I need to kill, and I just wasn't able to listen. And I have 1,000 hours in this game, and I don't know most of anything about what is going on in strikes or why. I know that there are bad guys, so I shoot them, and I know there's an arrow on my radar telling me where to go. At least in Reckoning and Menagerie, when the NPC is talking, it's in between encounters, and it's during a time where I don't have to shoot anything or really think about anything else. I can actually pay attention. And in those situations, I'm oftentimes like, dang, did you hear what she just said? that is crazy, that's insane, or whoa, that is so spooky. But I don't know. That's just, I don't know. That could be a weird thing. I don't know if anybody relates to that. If you relate to that, please let me know. Please let me know. I'm actually pretty stoked to, in all these videos, to find out if I'm just a weirdo. If like everybody else is like, nah, this is not a big deal. No, this doesn't bother me. That's totally fine. Let me know what you think. I really do care about what you think, and I'm interested to hear what you think. That's it. You can follow me on Twitch. I stream every week, multiple times a week. Sorry, I mean every day basically. And I got videos here on YouTube. I stream and play a lot of Destiny. If that's the kind of stuff you're into, that's the kind of stuff I'm into. So you know all the things you can do. Subscribe, like, follow, leave a comment about how cute you think my voice sounds, whatever it is.